builder-upper, a breaker-downer, a holder-outer, and I'm a giver-inner. Sad but true, I'm a sapperoo too, taking it from a taker-over like you. Don't know where I'm at, I'm just a thisser, then I'm a thatter, a taker on the chinner. My, what a weakie am I to love you as I do. Just when I'm ready to stop, you hand me a drop and everything is hunky-dory. And that's my story. Open your arms and I'm a stooge for your charm. You're a builder-upper, a breaker-downer, a holder-outer, and I'm a giver-inner. Sad but true, I love it, I do, being broken by a builder-upper like you.
Hello, fine peoples. I would like to continue the discussion about perfume magic, and about the raw materials, and a bit more about the actual physical art of it. See, although in the ancient times the perfumer was limited to a few natural ingredients, today's aromatic creations can draw upon between 4,000 to 5,000 aromas of organic and synthetic origin. There are a few hundred fragrances of natural origin, but a perfume composer's palette contains about 1,000 to 1,200 materials. Even a skilled professional, however, can only know and effectively use about 400 materials. Each item in the repertoire of perfumery materials has specific properties that come from their odoriferous molecules or volatile oils. A property can be defined as an effect that a material object or a substance has on another object or one or more of the senses of an observer. Clearly, the most important biological property of an odorant is that it has an odor that affects the human sense of smell. To become adept at using a perfumery material, you must become familiar with the effectiveness of potency of the compound, just as a doctor is familiar with the effectiveness of a drug. If a molecule has an odor, it has a characteristic trait or quality. Describing the characteristic quality is very difficult, but recognizing it by smell is relatively easy. The amount necessary for recognition is called the recognition threshold. Most of us are aware that olfaction is a complicated phenomenon. In daily life, we rarely encounter a single odorant. Usually, we integrate a multitude of sensations from many stimuli to form a composite sensation. The constituents of perfumes may be well over the threshold of concentrations. As concentrations exceed the threshold values, the sensations evoked may not be the same as those near thresholds. Vapor pressures vary considerably by several orders of magnitude with different media. Some molecules are very unstable and decompose in a matter of minutes, while others are quite tenacious. The creative art of the perfumer lies not so much in the making or distilling of simple odors, which generally consist of the solution of an attar or essential oil extracted from a plant substance and alcohol, as in the unique blends of several ingredients. These blended perfumes are known as bouquets. In beginning to formulate our own bouquets, we can take note of the practices of master perfumers. Computer statistics of daily use of aromatic raw materials show that while 600 items are used regularly, 50 of these basics make up 80% of the volume used annually. These 50 are the most widely available and should form the basis for the beginner's palette. Also, select no more than 400 aromatic raw materials in total, either synthetic or natural. Humans cannot assimilate knowledge of thousands of odoriferous substances, including the quality, durability, and intensity of each. To master perfume composition, even on an amateur level, it is wise to limit yourself and achieve intimate familiarity with a few substances in the initial phases of your practice. Note, each fragrance is like a musical note separated from its melody. It is accurate or true to its own quality, but combined in a melody line, bouquet, it takes on new life. A famous French perfumer, Pierre Dumez, has spoken of blending perfumes in the following manner. To make a perfume is to find a harmony of 3 or 4 dominant bodies that you smell in your mind. You have an inspiration for a mixture of those 3 or 4 bodies, not more. And they will release themselves in such a way that when you have combined the core in the proportions by which you have been inspired when you were in a tranquil, happy state of mind, you will not be able to distinguish one odor from the other among your basic raw materials. It is a perfectly balanced mixture which smells as a separate entity from the odor of each of the 3 or 4 bodies you have chosen. And in so doing, you will have created the quote-unquote woman. After that, you have to enhance her. Make her more beautiful. Do her hair. Select her dress, her lipstick, her eyeliner, her hat, her wrap. And that is a perfume. A perfume, more commonly known as a scent in Great Britain, is much more than a pleasant smell. It is a unique sensation produced by a harmonious blend of materials, sometimes as many as 100 different colors. The perfume gives a single pleasant impression, like the chords of a musical composition blend to form a beautiful symphony. In a bouquet, each odor must be brought to a certain standard of strength, so that no single scent overpowers the others. Now, when it comes to the natural raw materials of perfumery, one can begin with the most useful and least expensive form of perfumery ingredients are known as essential oils. These are isolates distilled from natural sources such as odoriferous gums and resins, fresh or dried leaves, buds, flowers, berries, nuts, fruits, beans, pods, seeds, roots, rhizomes, twigs, or wood itself. Other sources include barks, mosses, lichens, and balsamic or resinous exudations. Maurer provides a useful, if not exhaustive, classification of these natural sources as such. Number 1, flowering plants, shrubs, and trees. Canaga odorata, carnation, cassie, hyacinth, jasmine, jonquil, mimosa, narcissus, neroli, reseda, rose, tuberose, violet, ylang-ylang. And then number 2, leaf oils. Bay, cinnamon, cedar, eucalyptus, patchouli, petite grain, citrus aurantium, and wintergreen. Wood oils. Amyris, balsamifera, West Indian rosewood, birch, bois de rose, rose oil, steam distilled from wood, cade oil, juniper tar, camphor, cedar, guaiac, laurel, linalool, santal, sandalwood, and sassafras. Number 4, leaves, needles, and twigs. The pines, abies, silver, sylvestris, sibirica, and so forth, and cajeput, cassia, cedar, and cypress. Number 5, bark oils, birch, cassia, cascarilla, cinnamon. Number 6, fresh fruit oils, cold express. Almond, bergamot, citron, grapefruit, lemon, lime, mandarin orange, and tangerine. Number 7, grass oils, citronella, ginger grass, lemongrass, palmarosa. Seed oils. Number 8, amberette, angelica, cardamom, carrot, croton, cumin, dill, mustard, parsley. Number 9, dried leaf oils, cherry laurel, eucalyptus, nioli, patchouli. Number 10, dried fruit oils, anise, coriander, fennel, juniper, nutmeg. Number 11, dried buds and berries, clove, cubeb, juniper, pimento. Number 12, balsam oils, balm of Gilead, copaiba, labdanum, Peru, tolu. Gums. Number 13, elemi, galbanum, mastic, myrrh, olibanum, opopanax, and storax. Number 14, roots and rhizomes, angelica, calamus, costus, which is the root of Sassuria lapa, ginger, orris, valerian, and vetiver. And then 15, last, is herb oils, which are basil, chamomile, clary, dill, estragon, tarragon oil, fennel, geranium, lavandin, Lavandula hybrida, lavender, lovage, majorum, origanum from Thymus canatus, parsley, pennyroyal, peppermint, rosemary, rue, sage, spearmint, spike lavender, tansy, thyme, verbena, wormseed, and wormwood. So, that's a lot you can play with there, folks. Also of major consideration are those perfumery products derived from animal sources, the most widely used being ambergris. I've never known how to say that correctly because I've never worn it. But that's just me, kids. Musk and civet. Civet. The main drawback of these classifications is that they offer little that can be used by the beginner in actual perfume compounding. Still, it is useful to learn the sources from which materials are derived. More important, since most perfumes are based on a floral foundation, is an organized palette accommodating a minimum number of the floral types. From these, balanced floral components can be created upon which to build further. Maurer also offers a table that can be used as a perfumer's equivalent of the artist's shade card, showing how you can combine blossom fragrances to make perfumes. Working regularly with this table will teach you the nature and strength of odor of these natural aromatics. It's quite the magical diagram if you just go find it. Again, it's Maurer, Maurer, the artist shade card. By trying every possible combination of these basic groups, you will develop a feel for what will and will not work. You can recreate such well-known bouquets as Jasmine Neroli Rose or Rose Jasmine Carnation. Other classics which come from this palette of essential oils include Lily of the Valley Jasmine Carnation, Carnation Jasmine Violet, Ylang Ylang Carnation Jasmine, and Gardenia Lavender Carnation. Odors of the same group blend well together, but those blends combining groups may be more interesting. Any of these basic combinations can be enhanced or accented with more complex florals or other botanical oils. Forming such bouquets is much the same as working on scales for the aspiring musician. It is a necessary step towards developing your skill in the creative field. With a first-hand knowledge of the basics, you can begin experimenting by adding more and more subtle accents to your original blends. These are the essentials of compounding perfumes. There are many other natural raw materials, too numerous to describe in this volume here. You can find further information on perfumes and their production, Edward S. Maurer, 1958, and Natural Perfume Materials, translated by Edward Sagarin, Sagarin, from the French in 1949. In the magical employment of perfumes, it is good to work with essential oils in their pure form, without cutting them with alcohols. Their scent is then released by the gentle heat of the body, rather than by the evaporation of alcohol. Also, they exert a subtle influence by actually being absorbed into the body to some extent. Using natural rather than synthetic products may be more aesthetically pleasing. Now, as far as synthetic materials go, the floral kingdom contains more than 4,000 scented substances that perfumers can use to compose scents, but many are expensive to harvest and yield little oil upon processing. As replacements for these hard-to-get essences, a wide variety of synthetic perfumery substances have become available in the 20th century and 21st century and such. While the natural products might seem more aesthetically pleasing, our experience has shown that the psychological effects of the synthetics serve much the same purpose as their natural counterparts, which is important secret magic lesson. In some cases, they are preferable. For example, substituting synthetic musks or ambergris for those taken from animals, rather than supporting the killing of endangered species. Synthetics are disdained by some as lacking the warmth of natural substances. This is easily corrected by the addition of small amounts of essential oils to round out a fragrance. one of the most lastingly popular perfumes in the world, Chanel No. 5 was one of the first to include synthetic ingredients. Its introduction in 1927 was soon followed by others. Synthetics brought fabulous perfume creations within the budgets of the masses. In the 1980s, the designer fragrance market, and beyond that, is getting crowded. Different types of scents are popular at different times, but women's perfumes are a perennial favorite. One of the most successful lately has been Giorgio. Also popular have been other forms, etc., etc., etc. In the 1930s, men's colognes became popular. The images portrayed in the 1960s advertisements for such fragrances as Brut and High Karate were very macho. Now the ads are suggestive. In these days of mass merchandising, we all long to be unique, blah, 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 blah. Today's sophisticated perfumes are so subtle in composition that changing the formula just a little will alter the final result dramatically. Making such small changes is one way to gain the knowledge of master perfumers and build your own skill. Don't be afraid to experiment with synthetics once you have a basic knowledge of essential oils. Today, more than 2/3 of the materials used in perfumery are man-made. Even an introduction to the synthetics would require another volume of speaking and ranting. Some of the basic synthesis are ionon, derived from the Greek ion, from which the violet took its name, and eugenol and isoeugenol, which are carnation-like. Terpencoal reproduces the odor of purple lilac, while styrolyl acetate has an odor resembling gardenia flowers. Hydroxycitron LL enabled the creation of synthetic lily of the valley. Linaloyl acetate has a sharp lemon-like smell. Geraniol has a rose scent. So, in conclusion, in providing a rudimentary knowledge of perfumery materials, the goal is to set you free from the primitive sense of self. As a beginner, you will find many scents you like and don't. Approach your art with imagination rather than biases, because the many modifications scents undergo in combination alters their character dramatically. An essence that seems overwhelming or sickening straight from the bottle can provide just the right accent in the proper amount. Never depend on one particular supplier. Many suppliers of different sizes offer similar materials under different names for widely varying prices. The larger perfume houses with better quality product often have very costly minimum purchases. You will have to shop around and be somewhat flexible to get the items you want at an affordable price. Odor classification systems are provided only to give a solid foundation to further exploration of the magical realm of psychosensory evocation. We are attempting here to lead you, as a beginner, to a dialogue with the perfume materials, and even more towards learning to speak the languages of perfumes. The multitude of luxurious essences can be described in terms of dimension: a flat, linear odor; mass, heavy; volume, rich, full; tactility, rough; taste, bitter, sour; temperament, violent, nervous, youthful, sparkling; or eroticism, warm, sensual. Perfumes can be described by words derived from flowers, fruits, resins, woods, herbs, and chemicals. Some descriptive responses to scents are cultural in origin. The French, famous for their acute olfactory discrimination, have over 500 words in their language directly related to the sense of smell. Many impressions depend on various human reactions and associations shaped by the traditions, customs, conventions, and prejudices of any given culture. The Japanese, for example, find the odor of civet offensive because it reminds them of decaying flesh. They prefer ambergris, which is somewhat reminiscent of fish. Natives of Africa and the Middle East favor spicy, warm, strong, and heavy scents, as do the East Indians. Perfumes of this type are generally characterized as oriental. Scandinavians prefer light, floral fragrances, perhaps to remind them of spring during endless winters. The Chinese favor the fragrant blossoms of peach, magnolia, jonquil, and jasmine. We are all influenced to some extent by olfactive stereotypes, sometimes on a deeply subconscious level. A geranium-cinnamon combination tends to suggest the smell of soap. Chrysanthemum means death. Violet often interpreted as cheapness, unlike rose and jasmine, or it may remind you of an old aunt who never really cared for. We come to a certain odor association with it that is unpleasant, as well as with pleasant situations. Thus, our likes and dislikes are built up over the years at the subconscious level. Patchouli, once considered a vulgar odor in England, came to be one of the signature scents of the flower children, along with the standard sandalwood. Bear in mind that in perfumery, as in other arts, style is an important component. It is the special touch that makes a perfume composition more than the sum of its less sophisticated substances. All great perfume radiate their special style, and each perfumer has a unique style. In music, painting, and literature, the notes, colors, and words are the same, but the development and use of individual style allows for an unlimited variety of artistic productions and differing interpretations of the same theme. You can approach perfume composition visually and rhythmically, almost like an olfactory ballet. Your choices of quantity, quality, and combination of fragrances directly influence the way they are harmonized. A simple style, an unsophisticated formulation, yields a simple, unsophisticated perfume with an advantage of clarity and spontaneity. Complex formulations will create complex perfumes that unfold in softer, less abrupt rhythms. When composing a perfume, always write down the ingredients you use as you add to them. Do not trust your memory, or you may lose the formula of your most delightful creation. An effective, cheap way to test your creation is to use coffee filters cut up into long, thin strips. Test your creation at every stage of development. Allow time for the different scents to blend and mature. Smell the test strip when you first mix them. Then test a few hours later and compare. Smell the same strips later, even the next day. This will also show you the staying power or tenacity of the scent. Be sure to label the test strips with some code and the date. To get the full effect, always test the scent from the strip waved in the air rather than from the bottle. You may be a visual person who likes to use symbols for various scents when working them out on paper. One simple form of writing down a perfume, olfactive writing, links a simple graphic design to a scent. You can work out your own system according to the feeling you get from the various fragrances. Seek your own sigils, essentially. These forms, sigils, can be used. They can be abstract or symbolic, but they add to the fluency in the language of perfumes. The shapes you use will probably stay consistent for some periods of time, but they may evolve over longer periods. Using your imagination in the creation of perfumes means linking together bits of olfactory information that have never been associated before. This quest is a daily search, the attempt to duplicate or capture the essence of some attractive smell from daily life. The garden at dusk, damp earth after a rain, tree bark, the forest, a wood fire. You cannot create without inspiration. As you turn your attention more and more towards scent, you become aware of the keen variety of different odors and learn to appreciate them in a new way, much like learning to appreciate fine wines. Perfume is a language, the language of fragrance. As a form of communication, it ranges from single odors to simple formulations into sophisticated compositions. When purchasing a perfume for themselves or others, most people tend to use just a few vague words to describe what they are seeking. Without better descriptors, it is difficult to know what they mean. If someone asks for a soft perfume, does that mean sweetly soft, vanilla soft, musk soft, soft as opposed to strong? A cool perfume might mean citrus cool, peppermint cool, lilac cool, a cool touch or feeling cool. What is needed is a more common language among producers and users of perfume to fill the requirements and needs of one another. Perhaps this is even more important in the magical employment of perfumes, where small suppliers fill the requests of a variety of customers. Since the substances are serving an important symbolic purpose, it is important that the client get what he or she asks for. A little basic education in the perfumery art goes a long way toward achieving this goal. So that is your lesson for this time, folks. Do hit the subscribe button. Let people know I exist. Come back soon for more fun magical adventures and free Magick Secrets here at the Doktor Zeero Free Magick Secrets Show. Later, kids.